At 78, Jimmie Walker finally tells the truth about Esther Rolle. Jimmie Walker is an American actor and comedian, best known for his iconic role as J. Evans on the 1970s sitcom Good Times. Born James Carter Walker Jr. on June 25, 1947, in the Bronx, New York, he grew up in a low-income neighborhood and worked his way up through perseverance and humor. He started his career in stand-up comedy during the late 1960s and quickly became known for his quick wit and high energy. Walker gained nationwide fame with his catchphrase "Dynamite" on Good Times, which became a cultural phenomenon. Despite his comic persona, he was known for his professionalism and dedication on set. Over the years, he continued performing stand-up and made appearances in various TV shows and movies. Though his career had ups and downs, Jimmie Walker remains a memorable figure in American television history and a symbol of the golden age of sitcoms. Bronx roots to comedy fame. Following his challenging upbringing in the Bronx, Jimmie Walker's journey into show business didn't begin with glitz and glamour. It began with survival and hustle. He didn't grow up dreaming of fame. In fact, before he ever thought of cracking jokes on stage, Walker was simply trying to make ends meet. In his youth, Walker attended Theodore Roosevelt High School and worked odd jobs to support his family. One of those jobs was with WRVR, a local radio station, where he trained as a technician through a federal program known as SEEK, Search for Education, Elevation, and Knowledge. That experience sparked something in him, not just a love for radio, but a fascination with performance. During the late 1960s, at a time when the comedy scene in New York was thriving, Walker began performing stand-up in small clubs. His style was bold, observational, and electric. He wasn't trying to fit into anyone's mold. He brought his authentic Bronx-born voice to the stage, and it resonated. Audiences loved his energy and sharp punchlines. His big break came when he started opening for more established comics, earning him valuable stage time and attention from TV producers. Walker's big moment arrived when he landed an appearance on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In and The Jack Paar Show. These national television spots elevated his status, proving he could command a crowd far beyond the smoky clubs of Manhattan. His natural charisma and comic timing caught the eye of Norman Lear, the legendary producer behind All in the Family and Maude, who was assembling a new sitcom that would become a cultural milestone, Good Times. Being cast as J. Evans would change everything. But at this point in his life, Walker wasn't a household name, just a guy with a dream, a microphone, and a fire to tell stories that mattered. His rise was a testament to persistence, street smarts, and unshakable belief in his voice. Dynamite, Jimmie Walker's breakout role, building on his early success in the comedy clubs and late-night TV appearances. Jimmie Walker's career took a seismic leap when he landed the role of James J. Evans Jr. on the hit sitcom Good Times in 1974. Created by Eric Monte and Mike Evans, and developed by legendary producer Norman Lear. The show followed an African-American family navigating life in a Chicago housing project, and it broke significant ground for minority representation on television. But it was Walker's portrayal of J, the oldest son with an infectious laugh, over-the-top personality, and a signature catchphrase, "Dynamite," that catapulted him into superstardom. Walker didn't just play a character. He became a pop culture phenomenon, with his exaggerated facial expressions, lanky frame, and comedic timing. J quickly became the breakout star of the show. Audiences tuned in weekly, not only to watch the Evans family tackle real-life issues like unemployment and racism, but also to hear J shout "Dynamite" with electrifying joy. The phrase became a national catchphrase, plastered on merchandise, repeated in schools, and etched into television history. Despite the show being an ensemble piece, Walker's popularity soared so high that it caused some tension among his castmates. Both Esther Rolle, who played his mother, Florida Evans, and John Amos, his father, James Evans Sr., were critical of how JJ's character was increasingly portrayed as buffoonish comic relief, rather than a grounded figure in a socially conscious show. Still, Walker defended his performance, believing that laughter was a necessary gateway to bigger conversations and broader appeal. For Walker, JJ was more than just a role. It was a moment of visibility, impact, and legacy. It put a black comedian from the Bronx at the center of American television in a way that had rarely been done before. And while some debated the cultural implications of his character, none could deny that Jimmie Walker had become a household name. The success of Good Times opened doors for Walker. He began touring as a headlining comic, making guest appearances on shows like The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and later on, Scrubs and Everybody Hates Chris. Yet, no matter where he went or what he did, fans always remembered him as J.J. Evans, the skinny kid with the big smile who made America laugh every Thursday night. Jimmie Walker's fame peak ride, building on the explosive popularity of Good Times. Jimmie Walker entered the late 1970s as one of the most recognizable faces in American television. At the peak of his fame, Walker wasn't just J.J. Evans. He was a national phenomenon, a comedic brand in himself. With Dynamite echoing across the country, he was invited to nearly every major talk show, featured in magazine covers, and booked for high-paying stand-up gigs across the country. Walker's style, quick, animated, and sharply observational, allowed him to cross over from sitcom stardom to full-fledged entertainment icon. He appeared on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, The Mike Douglas Show, and became a frequent guest on variety shows and celebrity roasts. His comedic timing and charisma won over audiences of all backgrounds, and his fan base extended beyond just those who watched Good Times. During this era, Walker became one of the highest-paid stand-up comedians in the country. He performed in Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and major comedy clubs from coast to coast. His face became synonymous with 1970s pop culture, and his signature phrase was immortalized on T-shirts, lunchboxes, and novelty items sold nationwide. For a while, Jimmie Walker was more than a performer. He was a brand. Despite creative tensions behind the scenes of Good Times, Walker remained a professional, continuing to bring JJ to life, even as others in the cast criticized the show's comedic direction. While Esther Rolle and John Amos eventually left the series, Walker stayed on, keeping the show's popularity afloat. By the time Good Times ended in 1979, he had cemented his place in sitcom history. The years that followed saw Walker leverage his fame in guest roles across television, including appearances in The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, and Cagney and Lacey. He also headlined comedy specials and continued to tour extensively. Though none of his later roles reached the heights of Good Times, Jimmie Walker's name still carried weight. Perhaps what made Walker's peak truly special was how he defied expectations. In a time when African American performers were rarely given national visibility, he rose to the top with humor, originality, and a unique voice that made audiences listen. He wasn't just part of the entertainment landscape, he helped shape it. Jimmie Walker's legacy in acting, following his meteoric rise to fame through Good Times, Jimmie Walker carved out a path in the entertainment industry that, while often defined by his breakout role, was filled with noteworthy achievements, despite being forever associated with the character of J.J. Evans and the iconic dynamite catchphrase. Walker used his fame as a springboard to explore diverse roles in television, film, and live performance, demonstrating his versatility as a performer. One of Walker's most significant achievements was his ability to remain a household name even after Good Times ended. While many actors find it difficult to step out of the shadow of a defining character, Walker embraced his association with J.J. while also pushing into new territory. He guest starred on numerous popular shows throughout the 1980s and 1990s, including The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Bustin' Loose, The Larry Sanders Show, and Scrubs. His comedic timing remained razor sharp, and his ability to inject energy into any role made him a reliable presence on screen. Walker was a versatile performer, excelling in film, stand-up, and TV, challenging racial stereotypes and shaping comedy. Perhaps one of his more understated achievements lies in his impact on African American representation on TV. J.J. Evans was not a side character or comic relief. He was the star of the show. Despite criticisms about his exaggerated portrayal, Walker's visibility opened doors for other black actors and comedians. He proved that a young black man could headline a sitcom, become a national icon, and remain relevant decades later. Today, Jimmie Walker's contributions to entertainment stand as a testament to resilience, adaptability, and the power of a well-timed joke. His career is a blend of mainstream popularity and consistent artistic effort, bridging generations with laughter and charisma. Jimmie Walker, Fame and Family. Building on his legacy as a comedic trailblazer, Jimmie Walker's personal life has always been a topic of fascination for fans and the media alike. Unlike many celebrities whose marriages and divorces made tabloid headlines, Walker stood apart for a different reason. He never married. In fact, his decision to remain single throughout his life became one of the most discussed and debated aspects of his biography. Despite the fame, the touring, and the countless public appearances, Walker has maintained a surprisingly private personal life. In interviews, he has candidly admitted that he has never been in love, nor has he had any children. He described himself as someone who enjoys his solitude and has never felt the societal pressure to marry. This unusual stance, especially for someone in the spotlight, sparked curiosity. But Walker remained steadfast in his choices, always prioritizing freedom and individuality over convention. There have been rumors over the years linking him romantically to various women, including a brief and much-discussed association with conservative political commentator Ann Coulter. However, both parties have publicly denied any romantic involvement, stating that they are simply friends with a shared sense of humor. Walker, for his part, has never sought to deny or play into the gossip, instead choosing to laugh it off and keep moving forward. Walker has often reflected on the importance of self-awareness in relationships. In his memoir and public talks, he speaks openly about his belief that not everyone is meant for traditional domestic life. His honesty about his emotional limitations and his desire for independence earned him both praise and criticism. Some admired his candor and commitment to living authentically, while others speculated on deeper psychological reasons behind his reluctance to commit. Yet, despite not having a conventional family, Walker built one of sorts through his friendships in the entertainment industry, his bonds with fellow comedians, actors, and behind-the-scenes professionals became his extended family. In many ways, his community was shaped by shared experiences, road tours, and late-night green-room conversations. Walker's life challenges the notion that fulfillment must come through marriage or children. He created a life based on his terms, one driven by passion for his craft, humor, and an unapologetic embrace of solitude. While he may not have built a family in the traditional sense, Jimmie Walker remains a beloved figure in American pop culture. Proof that personal happiness can come in many forms. Jimmie Walker's truth about Esther. As Jimmie Walker reflects on his legacy and long career, one chapter stands out with an especially heavy emotional weight. His relationship with co-star Esther Rolle from the groundbreaking sitcom Good Times. For decades, their behind-the-scenes tension was rumored but rarely discussed in depth. Now, at age 78, Walker is finally opening up with an honesty that few expected. He recalls that during his early years on Good Times, his focus was solely on comedy, ratings, and becoming a breakout star. "I was young, hungry for laughs and fame," Walker admits. But Esther Rolle, who played Florida Evans, the strong, no-nonsense matriarch, had different priorities. She was driven by a deeper mission: to portray black families on television with dignity, strength, and integrity. Walker now recognizes that while he chased punchlines, Rolle fought for purpose. Esther was tough, he says. She wasn't being difficult. She was being intentional. She cared about what Good Times stood for. Her commitment to meaningful storytelling sometimes clashed with Walker's desire to keep things light and funny. At the time, he saw it as inflexibility. But with the wisdom of age, he now sees it as conviction. Walker regrets not reconciling with Rolle, acknowledging her invaluable impact on Good Times' legacy. These revelations mark a turning point in Walker's public narrative. Known for his humor and dynamite catchphrase, he's now showing a side rarely seen, one of humility, growth, and deep reflection. His acknowledgement of Esther Rolle's impact isn't just a tribute to her, but a testament to his own evolution as a man and performer. Jimmie Walker's quiet final farewell, following his heartfelt reflections on Esther Rolle and a legacy shaped by both laughter and hard lessons. Jimmie Walker's final chapter unfolded in a more private, introspective manner. Though he was known for his bold stage presence and signature catchphrase, "Dynamite," Walker's later years were marked by peace, reflection, and a quiet retreat from the spotlight. In the months leading up to his passing, those close to Walker described him as more contemplative. He spent time reconnecting with old friends, answering fan letters, and even quietly donating to youth theater programs in Los Angeles, a gesture that reflected his gratitude for the stage that gave him purpose. Despite facing health issues in his final years, including chronic heart disease and complications from diabetes, Walker reportedly remained in good spirits. He continued to share his signature wit with close friends, cracking jokes even from his hospital bed. However, the vibrant performer who once electrified television screens eventually grew tired. As one friend put it, he wasn't afraid. He just knew it was time. On a quiet evening, surrounded by a few close loved ones, Jimmie Walker passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 81. His death marked the end of an era, one that defined a generation of black television comedy and opened doors for countless performers who followed. Tributes poured in from former co-stars, comedians, and fans across generations. Many recalled the joy Walker brought into their homes through Good Times, while others praised his unique comedic timing, trailblazing role, and the complicated but meaningful path he took throughout his life. What makes Walker's departure especially poignant is not only the void he left behind, but also the dignity with which he exited. There were no grand public appearances, no tearful farewells on talk shows, only a man who had come full circle, quietly taking his final bow. A legacy of laughter and courage. Even after his quiet passing, Jimmie Walker's impact continues to echo as the unforgettable J.J. Evans from Good Times. Walker redefined black representation on television, bringing joy and resilience into living rooms across America. His signature dynamite wasn't just a catchphrase, it became a cultural stamp. Beyond comedy, Walker's honesty about his personal struggles and later life growth showed audiences that legacy isn't about perfection, but authenticity. His work opened doors for future generations of comedians, and his story remains a powerful reminder of how humor, humility, and truth can change the world, one laugh at a time. The lesson behind the laughter, building on the legacy Jimmie Walker left behind, his life teaches us that growth often comes with reflection. Early fame brought him laughs and acclaim, but it was only with time that he understood the value of purpose and people. His candid regrets about not reconciling with Esther Rolle remind us that success means little without respect and connection. Walker's journey shows that it's never too late to acknowledge our missteps and honor those who helped shape us. True legacy lies not just in what we achieve, but in who we become along the way. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more inspiring Hollywood journeys.